So, hello everyone, it's Damien from Spark Angels again, doing a little bit of a Throwback Thursday today. So we've got an iPhone 3GS with a broken digitizer. So we're going to be replacing that today. Haven't done one of these in a long time, so this will be quite interesting. Right, so as per normal, obviously, comment on the video if you want to know anything, or comment afterwards if you would like to know anything afterwards. Obviously, send us a private message if you want any quotes from us, or you can visit our website, which is sparkangels.co.uk. Brilliant. So, obviously I've powered the device down, first thing you always do if you can. So yeah, we'll just get it started. So, with 3GS, they've got two bottom screws. Pretty much all you'll need is a Phillips screwdriver, isosimo, spudger, and tweezers. That's pretty much all you'll need for this repair. So, we'll start with taking out the two Phillips screwdrivers, the screws at the bottom. Putting them in a little tray. Right, so to get into the 3GS, people think there's loads of different ways to do it. There's only one. You just need to get in between the digitizer and the silver frame. It's got a little plastic bit in between there. You want to get in between that plastic bit and the frame. You can use an isosimo for that. You probably will end up hurting that little plastic frame around. Obviously don't go in too deep, don't put too much pressure on it, but once you pop it up, it'll literally open up and go straight to the top, like so. So inside of it, on the 3GSs, they're actually labelled all their connectors, which is very odd. So as you can see, you got a 1, 2, 5, 4, 7, some of the other labels underneath. There's 6 there as well. But pretty much all you need to do is we're going to take off the screen. So you've got two connectors up there, you got the 1 and the 2. You need to undo those ones. You can get the top part of the spudger, a little pointy bit, get in the little gap there, and pop that connector up. And then for the 2 you can use the flat bit, just get the corner in there, pop that up. Alright, so there is another connector underneath that, which is a 3. For that, it's got a black little bar. Kind of just pop that up, and then you can literally slide the whole screen to the top. Obviously don't put too much force in it. You can give it a gentle push with the isosimo, or your spudger, to help it out, and that's the screen off. So 3GS, quite dirty inside of it. We'll give that a clean afterwards, but that's pretty much all you need to do. For most phones nowadays, you'll unplug the battery first thing. With the 3GSs, you can't really do that, as you will need to take off the screws for the board, because the battery is actually connected behind the board, so you can't do that on them. It's one of the reasons why you power down the phone as well. Make sure no current goes through the device. So there we go. So we'll take apart, because we'll need to transfer the LCD and the front microphone or the front earpiece to the new phone, or the new screen. To do that, you've got 3 screws either side. Well, this side's got 2, that side's got 3. Like I said, haven't done one in a while. And then you've got 1 screw at the top there to remove the proxy and earpiece. So we'll undo those screws. Like as normal with all devices, put the screws in the place they came out. There we go. And then you'll take the 1 screw off for the top. Right, so what we're going to do is we're going to take off the earpiece first. So you need some sharp tweezers for that, just to be able to get into the little gaps. So how it pretty much lifts out is just straight up, but you've got little connectors that are connected in there. Well, not connectors, just little hooks that hook around the actual frame to keep it into place. So you just want to pop that up. You just get in that top bit there, obviously not going in too far, not putting too much pressure. Lift that bit up, and then it's got a little hook at the bottom there as well. So you want to come in from the other side, lightly get into there, and just push it towards the LCD, just so it unconnects it. And you can lift it up, which is that little ribbon cable back there. Right, and that's the proxy out. Let's put that to the side. Right, so I'll now take out the LCD. LCD is fairly simple. Got the little the silver plate, which is the back plate of it. Just want to get in the top there and just push it up. You don't want to push it up too hard because you will end up cracking the LCD. They're very fragile. You can, if you feel it gets tension, you can go with your isosimo. Go in the sides, just relieve the pressure. And that pops that out. So that'll be your LCD. Put that to the side. So the last thing we need to remove, you don't need to remove the home buttons on them because your new ones will come with home buttons. So all that you need to do is just remove the actual earpiece itself. Which the earpiece itself, you can actually damage it while taking it out. So just need to be a little bit careful. You have got a slight little bit in the side where you can get in. Just need to be very gentle. Obviously you don't want to break the earpiece into two pieces, otherwise you will have to replace it. So it's got little gaps on that side there and that side there, and it's just held down with adhesive. So you just want to get in, try and get right to the back to pick it up. So it's not the easiest thing, like I said, to get out.
So how come the LCD isn't attached to the glass like on other iPhones?
With the older 3G and 3GSs, and even the first gens, they did make them differently. I don't know the exact reason for it, but as with Apple, over time, they make everything better. Obviously the LCD and digitizer as one piece, they can start doing other things like your force touch on the 6Ss, stuff like that, and you can obviously get better quality, and it looks a lot nicer because with 3G and 3GS you get loads of dirt behind because they're not one piece. You get loads of dirt behind over time. This device has never been opened before, but as you can see there's loads of dirt on the back of the LCD. So obviously just ways of improving it by doing all that. Right. So this is being a bit of a nightmare to get this earpiece out. They aren't the easiest, like I said. Right, isosimo in the top, lifts it out. So that is that. Right, so you can see it's a small little thing held down by some adhesive on the back there, and you need to get it out. When you get it out, you need to get that whole silver or gold bit out as well. Don't know if you can see it, it's not really the easiest thing to see, but you need to get the whole thing out. So when you look at the back of the where the earpiece came out, you've just got the silver bit. If you've got a little gold bit with bronze connectors on it, it's come out wrong and you've damaged the actual earpiece. So you just need to make sure it looks silver. But yeah, like I said, it's been a while, so I think the isosimo, instead of using tweezers, will be the better way. Going in from the top, going right to the back, so you can hook out the bottom and pull it out. That seems to be the better way to do it. Alright. Makes loads of dirt on the desk as well, which is great. Right, so get the new digitizer. You want to put in the earpiece. Right, the earpiece only goes one way. You obviously have, if you take it out and you can't figure out which way it went back, it's got two little connectors there, two little springy pins. And if you look at the back of the proxy, you see the points that they'll connect to is at the bottom. So you want those connectors at the bottom, and then that way they'll line up and connect. So we'll put that in place, just slot it straight in there. And there we go. Alright, so with the LCD, we'll give it a clean, take away all that old dirt or dust. Try to get it as clean as possible for when you put it back in. Right, so obviously remove all protective layers on it, so we'll take that protective layer off, and you want to pretty much quickly transfer it over so you get no dust in there, and it kind of slots in, and you just make sure the holes line up. Don't put too much force as per normal, kind of just wiggle around, make sure it sits in nicely. Look over the front, make sure you got no dirt underneath the LCD and the digitizer. That way you know it's all good. Obviously if there's dirt in there, you can then take it out again, clean it up again, put it back. But hopefully you do it first time without getting a dirt in it, because it's a little bit more of a nightmare to clean it up afterwards. Right, so then we'll put in the proxy. So proxy only goes one way with the cable to the left hand side. You'd want to slot it under all the connectors, including that little tab there. And once you get it to the point where it lines up, just clip it all down. So that will be the proxy in. So we'll screw it all back in. So you got one screw for the top for the proxy, and then you got two screws on the right hand side and three on the left. There we go. Another thing to watch out for is obviously these connectors at the top here. Just need to make sure you don't try and bend them too much, because they are very fragile cables. So yeah, that's all back together. Make sure the home button works and feels nice. There we go, we can pop that back on. So we'll give it a clean first, because inside of there, loads of dirt. Very common. Very common for 3Gs and 3GSs. Just got loads of dirt inside of it.
Is that because of the way the screen is actually designed?
Yeah, the way the screen sits on, obviously over a long period of time, it does get loads of dirt in it because it just goes through the gaps. Sometimes the frame actually comes away, which this one doesn't seem to be apart, which is quite good. The frame can come apart, the little silver bit from the black, dirt can get in that way. Over time it just gets a dust build up, a small little particles going in, builds up over time, and you end up with a big clump of dirt. Don't know if you can see that on camera, but you get quite a lot of dirt inside of them. Alright, so we'll just move that all out the way. Alright, and then we'll just wipe it all down. And wipe down the rear of the LCD. So, right, so it's connected all down. It's fairly simple. The only point that most people struggle with is to make sure the cables actually stay down, because the number one cable doesn't always clip in properly. Comes very loose just by gently moving it. So we'll try and get that nicely in place. So the connector 3, the one that slides in, kind of just help it in. So line it up, get the top of spudger, get it so it's where it needs to go, and then you kind of just push the screen, wiggling the screen from left to right. Should push it in place. Like that. And then you just connect it and clip it down. So you got the connector 2, we'll pop that back into place, and then the connector 1. So as you can see, connector 2 doesn't have the foam bit on it anymore. It's on the old digitizer. So we'll just take that off, just so we can put it back on, just so it gives that sponge and it holds the connector in place. Most people don't end up swapping over the sponges that are on the back of the connectors, but what that does is over time it just gives more room for the connector to come loose. And obviously if the connector comes loose, your digitizer will stop working. You could have further problems. You'll have to open up the device again, connect it back down. In that time you could actually break things. So we'll get that put back into place. Stay down. Right, that has lost all of its adhesive properties, so we'll put some more adhesive back on it, just so it stays into place and it doesn't move around over time.
It's interesting how in these phones, Apple made it a lot easier for people to dismantle their phones, and in newer versions, like for example, the bottom screws are just fillets, whereas these ones are pentalobe. Other ones are pentalobe screws.
Yeah,
most
I mean,
people don't have access to open.
In 3G and 3GSs, they literally have no other screw apart from your standard Phillips. I don't think they even have turret screws in these, as far as I know. As far as I can remember, no turret screws. So they literally only had your Phillips screwdriver. In the 4 and 4S, they ended up putting your flathead screws, and they put a turret screw, which you'd use your pentalobe screwdriver to go into, or you'd get a flathead to undo it. And then the 4. I think the 4S as well. No, I think it was just the 4. The 4, they started off with Phillips screwdrivers for the bottom as well, but as it went on, they ended up bringing out the pentalobe for those, so they changed. Right, so now the connectors are down. Obviously, like I said, sometimes the one doesn't connect in properly. Just give it a good push, make sure it's fine. The way it goes in is in the top, it clips in, and then you push the whole thing down, like so, and then we'll just screw the bottom 2 screws back in place. Like so. Turn it on, and that's all on. Alright, I'll get it to a point where I can show you the touchscreen all working, because the digitizer is what we replaced, so it might take some time because 3G and 3GSs have a long boot time due to how old they are. But yeah, I mean, it's been a while since I've done one of these, and forgot how quick they are compared to even the newer phones. There's not much to them compared to
No, they seem a lot easier to dismantle.
Alright. Come on. Go. So we'll just get it to a point where I can show you the touch bar working. There we go.
Oh yeah.
So that's the touch. It is a bit laggy because the phones are fairly slow. But that is the touch all working again. And obviously looks all nice and good again. So there we go. That was a throwback to the old devices. Yeah. There we go. Right, so obviously, like I said, probably be doing another video tomorrow. Obviously, if you've got any questions about it or need to contact us in any way, you can comment on this video or send us a private message. Otherwise, I shall hopefully see you guys tomorrow again for another repair video. Thank you very much. It's Damien from Spark Angels. I'll see you guys later.